Joining me now to kick off hour number 3 is a man who will be on the ESPN set tonight, as he was last night for night 1. Rounds 2 and 3 begin on ESPN later on, 7 Eastern time. Ladies and gentlemen, Riddick is here on the program. Good to see you. Right. How are you?
I'm doing good, man.
Let's just jump right into it, sir. Why do you think Shedeur Sanders dropped all the way out of the first round last night?
You know, Rich, I mean, as you know, you've been covering the draft a long time. When it comes to quarterbacks, when it comes to any player, when you're talking about the top half of the first round, let's just say the first round overall, people physically look for distinguishing traits to kind of mitigate the risk of being wrong, which is something that everybody's trying to avoid in the first round. And with Shedeur, what's been most of the talk leading up to the draft, that he doesn't have the kind of physical traits that typically you associate with upper echelon quarterbacks, right? He's not doesn't have unique size, doesn't have unique arm strength, doesn't have unique mobility, whatever it is, you know. And so when you're looking at him, I think that is something that if all the other things, when you're talking about decision-making, accuracy, football, personal character, leadership team, if it's not something to where that people feel as though it is so much so will kind of outweigh or kind of like buffer some of the things physically that a guy doesn't have, if those things don't stand out so much, players start to slide. And it becomes a subjective process, right? I mean, you can ask 15 different people about Shedeur Sanders. You're going to get 15 different answers. You're going to get people, like on our set, Mel Kiper believes the guy was the best quarterback in the draft. And then you can get people, you could go and poll someone else, and they would say, look, he's a second or third round talent. And then when you start to factor in the fact that of who he is, who his father is, what his personality is like, having sat in a lot of college draft meetings, I can tell you, people's personal opinions weigh heavily, very heavily in this kind of process when the physical traits are not just staring you and knocking you in the face to say, look, I don't care how I feel about this guy personally, we have to take him because the traits are too good to pass up. When that's not working for you, and then people have other kind of biases and or feelings about the other characteristics I'm talking about, that's how you can start sliding, and it can go fast as it did last night, and we'll see what happens tonight.
Well, let's say those opinions are valid. Okay, let's just for the sake of this conversation,
exactly.
Where's the fail-safe point where the pick isn't deemed so high that the risk is worth it? Where do you see that inflection point tonight?
Really, for me, at the very top of the second round. I mean, it begins. It doesn't end with Cleveland, but it begins right there.
I mean, they're 33 overall, and they got a second. They got another second just right away, thanks to last night's trade.
If you don't take him, if they don't take him, considering the obvious need that they have at the position, and given what he has put on tape, and given what I know, and I know Andrew Berry knows, and a lot of people in the Cleveland Browns organization knows, because they've done a lot of homework on this young man.
So did the Giants.
Exactly. If you still feel that he is not worthy of being picked at the top of the second round, and given what your situation is, then you're right. Then this becomes a very, very interesting discussion, just let me say that, as to why in the heck this young man has not been picked at this point in time.
Because walk me through, I mean, you've said it multiple times on this show, but I guess it should be reset here. Your opinion of Shedeur Sanders as a football player is he is a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL that, given the right circumstances, like 99% of other quarterbacks, offensive line protection, solid running game, reliable weapons, stable organization, competent coaching, this guy will win you 10, 11, 12 games, have you in the playoffs, have you in the hunt to be a Super Bowl champion. He just will. Because I'll tell you what, tell me this, from a physical perspective, from a physical skills perspective, what is the hole in his game that is so egregious that you would sit there and go, well, that's the thing that's going to keep him from ascending? I'm not an all-22 guy.
But I'll take.
I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. And
I mean,
I'm asking you I'm asking you rhetorically, but at the same time, what I'm saying is, well, there's two things that come up all the time with Shedeur this year, right? He doesn't have great mobility, doesn't have escapability, doesn't have like ad-lib ability. It's like, look, I think Cam Ward's the best quarterback in the draft. Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders are basically neck and neck in that regard. Cam Ward's not going to win any 40-yard dash races or break the world record in the 60-meter but he's got enough mobility to be able to get out of trouble and create Turn on any tape with Shedeur Sanders, he does the same. Next question, arm strength. Well, he doesn't have the rocket arm. He can't fit it into tight windows. I could pull up 10 throws right now on Shedeur Sanders where I would say those are NFL caliber throws, and he can do it with people whacking him in the face because he had no protection at Colorado at all. His own father says, we didn't protect him. We tried to get people in here. We just didn't get the job done. His son took a beating, Rich.
Yeah.
I called multiple games of his where I could see Deion on the sideline going, like pleading with the offensive coordinator or telling the offensive coordinator, run the ball. My son is getting killed out here.
Yeah.
But he's hanging in there because he's trying to help win games. And I'm sitting there going, so when we say those kind of things about he just doesn't have those elite physical traits, look, we know at the top of the draft, again, it's an exercise about mitigating risk. Scouts, GMs, owners, whoever it is who are making decisions, they want to have all the boxes checked. So just in case the player fails, they can say it's the player that failed. I didn't fail in my evaluation. When you have guys who have a few of the boxes that go unchecked and or you have a question mark about it, if those players fail, scouts then fear for their job security. Because the guy at the top of the organization is going to come back and say, well, why'd you draft him that high anyway? He didn't check all the boxes. That's why people start to slide. Then you add in the personal component, like he's Deion Sanders' son. He's Brad. But Rich, it's a real thing.
Come on. What do they think? He's going to show up like LeVar Ball and upend somebody's franchise? I mean,
you tell me it's a real thing. You can go on social media. You don't even have to go on social media. You can just go walk around the street and go, tell me how you feel about Deion Sanders. And there are going to be people who are going to give you things from here to here. And they don't even know him, but they talk about him like they do know him. And a lot of times, it's not real positive. And that look, I've known the guy for 30-something years. I was teammates with him. I know what he's like.
Sure.
But people get their perceptions about people. And Travis Hunter, I just saw a clip of him talking about the same thing. They asked him about, what do you feel about Shedeur slide? And he goes, and some of the things that people say about him. He goes, they're hating on him. They take out some of the feelings that they have about his father on us, and they project it on us. And it's really it's not fair, but that's just the way the world works right now.
So it's Deion's influence that is being. I'm just trying to square the circle here. It's Deion's influence that's causing his son, the quarterback, who clearly has some NFL abilities, knocking him out of the second round. We're not saying how Deion polished a diamond in the rough into a unicorn chosen second overall.
Of course not.
We're not talking about how Prime has gotten this kid, Travis Hunter, 100%. Remember when Travis Hunter didn't go to Florida State, went to Jackson State? Everyone's like, well, this kid just screwed up. Why is he going to go to Jackson State? Well, look at what Deion has honed.
Yeah.
It's not like he rolled out the footballs.
On top of the fact that he developed his own boy into one of the best passers in college football.
Doesn't fit the narrative.
So would you counsel the Cleveland Browns to choose Shedeur Sanders with one of their first two selections tonight?
Absolutely.
You would?
Absolutely. I would back that.
Could you imagine if they didn't trade away Travis Hunter and had an ability to become the Colorado Browns?
There were people who were fantasizing about that and who were hoping that would happen. No question. That would be something else. That would be.
Like the conversation we'd be having right now would be radically different.
Can you imagine with the mood? I heard you talking a little bit before about maybe how some people in Cleveland are feeling about the fact that they passed on getting a once-in-a-generation player like Travis Hunter. Can you imagine if they had gotten both of them? Both Shedeur and Travis in Cleveland. That's exactly what Cleveland, the city, needs right now.
The Cleveland Buffaloes. But
exactly what they need.
But you think Shedeur should be a Brown in the first?
I sure hope so.
40 minutes tonight.
I hope so. He's more than deserving. I know. See, it's funny, man. We've talked about this so much to the point where, of course, people now are saying, what are you on Deion's payroll? Why are you constantly advocating for this guy? I'm like, look, I consider myself to be a pretty, down the line individual where I will hammer people as much as I praise people.
Yeah.
Shedeur Sanders is a damn good quarterback. He should get off the board right away tonight. And if he doesn't, it's going to get all kinds of interesting.
What do you think the Steelers are thinking right now?
That's a great question. That's a great question. You know what I think? I think they're thinking, look, I think they believe Aaron Rodgers is going to play for them. I really do believe that.
So that gets them through 2025.
Right. Exactly.
And they'll use a third-round selection later on tonight on best available quarterback, you think?
I would hope so. I would hope so. Now, it'll be interesting to see if anybody is there that is still worthy of being considered a franchise caliber guy or has starting caliber ability. I don't think there will be. Look, I think Shedeur will be gone. I think Tyler Shuck will be gone. I think Jalen Milroe will be gone. So now what are you left with? I mean, do you really think, look, no disrespect to Will Howard or of someone of that nature, but I just don't think that that's what they're looking for, that that's what they need, that will level them up at the position that they need in the way in which they need to be.
I love Tomlin. I love this franchise. I love the city. I love all of it. We're going to be there next year for the draft. It's going to be awesome. You and I know that right now. Okay, so that said, I just find it so hard to believe that the Steelers are in a position of hoping Aaron Rodgers does decide to continue to play football so they can have a quarterback to win, have a chance to win a Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
While waiting for a rookie quarterback tonight to appear for them.
Yeah.
To maybe choose so they can potentially find a quarterback of the future, and they don't have a second-round pick to use on that because they used it to get a wide receiver without a quarterback plan and pay that receiver $30 million a year. Is that the most un-Steelers-like thing that you've heard in a long time, or what?
If there was any draft room or any series of draft meetings that you would want to be in, it would have been the Pittsburgh Steelers. To hear the discussion around, one, how they set their board and how they projected their board to play out when they came on the clock, and who they would be comfortable taking at that spot. And that Shedeur Sanders, they said, hey, look, if he's here and Derek Harmon's here and, any number of other players are here, Shedeur's not going to be the pick. Like, I'd love to know how they arrived at that conclusion, given the circumstances that you say that, and that we all know that they are faced with right now at that position. I'd love to have heard how that went down. And then last night when they got on the clock, I would have loved to have heard the conversation between Omar Khan, Mike Tomlin, Mr. Rooney, as Shedeur is sitting there. That card, like if we're looking at a big draft board, his card is sitting right there. And you look at it, Jackson Dart's card is still sitting right there. And you go, nope.
Derek Harmon. Oregon.
Come on.
So before I let you go, the first round selection you liked significantly last night, and who you would be table pounding for tonight, Louis Riddick.
Oh, that I like specifically last night. You know what? Matthew Golden coming here to the Packers is one I liked a ton because I had just had a conversation with Steve Sarkisian about him and about his development and how at the end of the season, when Matthew finally got comfortable in that offense, how you saw him take off in the SEC championship game in the first round of the playoffs against ASU, and how much Sark really vouched for the fact that this kid is a great kid who is a self-made man, who someone was going to get the very best of. He said, look, I wish I had him a little bit longer because he took over. And that, considering what the Packers situation is at wide receiver and their history of not drafting him in the first round, I think it just matches up perfectly. You saw how excited the kid was last night.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of thing, man, that you just love to see. Who am I interested in seeing tonight?
Yes, sir.
Look, I love great dudes who are also great players. There isn't a better dude in this draft than Donovan Ezraku from Boston College. And he has every pass rush move in the book. Every single one. Speed, power, speed to power, spin, cross chop. He's got it all. I mean, at Boston College this year, he went crazy. And he is, I mean, you'll see next year, Ezraku will be a double-digit sack guy, and people are going to be going, how the hell did he get to the second round? He'll be a double-digit sack guy. He doesn't have the measurables of James Pierce. He's not, he's not like some of the other guys that, that you associate with being upper echelon pass rushers. But he has got a bag, as you say, and you're going to see it. You're going to see it in the fall this year.
Louis, thank you for all the times you came on during the draft season and for today, and keep looking for my calls, sir.
You got it, man.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.